Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Alexa Office Hours. I am Jeff Blankenburg, and today I have Alicia Everson here with me today. So, Alicia, thank you for joining me for Office Hours.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Certainly. And I haven't asked you, so I always like to clarify this. Is it Alicia? Is it Alicia? What do you prefer?
It's Alicia.
Alicia, okay, perfect. So I'm glad I asked. All right, so welcome to everyone that's here. As usual, we're taking your questions about software development, Alexa certification, voice experiences, whatever it might be. I'm happy to do my best to answer your questions here today with Alicia, and we'll get started as soon as we have a few questions. I see we've got a few new folks, and in fact, there's a good early question, so I'll jump to that first. It looks like Kirthana Satish has asked, how do I get an internship or a job in this department of Amazon? Well, there's one way. I wish that there was magical ways where I could just like recruit people in and say, yeah, I like you. Come on, we'll join the company. But that's not really how it works at Amazon, especially a company this size. So what I would recommend is you want to start at Amazon.jobs. That is, I thought I had a link for it. Let me create one here. Amazon.jobs. And it looks like this, Amazon.jobs. So I would recommend heading over there, looking for things, search for the word Alexa, find the things that you're looking for, the kinds of roles that you think you're qualified for. And one of my tips for everybody is when you're looking at jobs on that website, reach a little bit. Don't look for things that you only feel like you are qualified for today, but look for things that are within reason. If you have 3 years of experience as a software developer and something says you need 5 years, apply. One of the things that I think a lot of people forget when they look at job listings is that they are listing their ideal candidate, the person that would be absolutely perfect, the kind of experience and knowledge and performance that they're looking for. But in almost all corporate scenarios, the salary doesn't always match what the perfect candidate would offer, right? We want someone with 30 years of experience, but we're paying at a junior software developer rate. And so I don't know that that's true for any of these jobs. I'm not really that plugged into it, but I will tell you, whenever you're applying for jobs, you should always reach a little bit because you'll find that the difference between 3 years and 5 years of experience as a software developer isn't really that significant. And I don't think that you should self-limit yourself. Always apply a little bit bigger than you think you are. All right, so that's Amazon.jobs. That's what I would recommend. I believe internships and paid roles are all found on there. What do you think about that advice, Alicia? Do you find that when you look for jobs that you tend to overreach, or do you tend to apply to only things that you feel like, yeah, I qualify?
Yeah, I agree with the overreaching, especially because there's no downside to it really. If you don't hear back, then that's fine. It's not a risk,
Right.
So you might as well just go for it. And then also another piece of advice we sort of talked about last time I was on stream was about the leadership principles.
Yeah.
So if you do hear back about a position and you're going in for an interview, check out the leadership principles that Amazon has there public, and you can find them if you Google the leadership principles for Amazon and just sort of like look through them and think about your career experience and a story that applies for each of those leadership principles, and be prepared to talk about them too.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. I think that the leadership principles are a big part of our, not only our hiring process, but just our corporate culture. And so that's a really good tip for anybody. Okay, Teo Diaz on YouTube said, I tried to create an Alexa skill with the developer console, but the UI is a little bit difficult to understand for a first timer. Is there a better course to create a new skill that works on my Alexa device? So Teo, there's a couple of pieces of advice I can give you here. The first is, I don't know what your development experience is. You haven't indicated any of that. But I will share that you can start, if you just want to do something basic to run on your device, you can start with blueprints. Let me bring this up here too. I go to the right tab, create another banner for this. So it looks like this, blueprints.amazon.com. And what I can do, maybe, is I'll share my screen here. So this is Alexa Blueprints. And what you can see here is that there's all sorts of interesting things that you can build. These are all kind of pre-built templates for the types of skills that you might want to create. Now, there's nothing fancy here, and you're not going to add additional logic. So you kind of have to live within what these templates offer. But these are custom things that you can create on your own that will run on your devices, or you could make these available to the public. And one of the ones that I really like is the custom Q&A. So just imagine being able to build something simple where you ask your device a question and it gives you a predefined answer. That works really well for an example I use, which is having house guests, right? One of the most common questions I get when my children's friends come over are, what's the Wi-Fi password, right? That's something they always want to know. And so I've started making them ask Alexa that question. And so as a result, now they are asking for, what is the Wi-Fi password? I also have things like, what are mom and dad's phone numbers in case the kids forget, or what is the house address in case the kids can't remember any of that stuff. So just basic little things about the house. And, we mix in some inside jokes there as well. We have a whole joke about who the best is in the house. And so I consistently go in and change that to be me. Anyway, so that kind of stuff is really fun to be able to do. But there's a lot of great examples of this. You can set up things like this whose turn here for deciding who's going to empty the dishwasher next, and let Alexa kind of decide those things inside your household. But there's lots and lots of those kinds of things. There's interactive storybooks. There's trivia games. Lots of great stuff to get started with. So I don't think that entirely answers your question, Teo, but I wanted to start there. The other piece of information you were asking is, are there any courses that would help me learn how to build an Alexa skill? There are a number of them out there, but we do have, if you go to, I think I have this one set up as well. If you go to alexa.design/start, and I'll bring that up here too, alexa.design/start. We'll find that right here on this website, whenever I get there, we have down here a little bit lower, there was I thought on this page there was a tutorial. Let's see how an Alexa skill works. That's all great. Multimodal Alexa conversations. Where's the basic tutorial? That used to be on this page. I go to get deeper. Okay, well, this gets you started there. I thought that they had we had a walkthrough course that showed you a lot of this. Well, I'll link to this page specifically also. This is another place to talk about this. And there is also the Alexa Cake Time course. Alexa skill in 5 minutes. Here we go. This is what I expected to have linked on there. I'll add this to the chat as well. This is it walks you through basically building your first skill, and it's called Cake Time. So hopefully those two get you going in the right direction. Okay. Let's see. Treylas wants to know, and you may know the question to this, Alicia. What is the best way to report typos or errors in the tech docs? There's a feedback button, but it's only a did this page help yes or no form. Are you aware of any other way where someone can provide feedback on the tech docs?
You can always write into us through our contact us form and let us know if there are any tech doc errors that need to be changed.
Okay.
As far as I know, that's the best way.
All right, that's great. So in lieu of other solutions, which I will dig into and look for, the recommendation is fill out the contact us form and let them know. Just provide a link to the page and say, hey, this looks wrong, or whatever it is, and they'll put that into the review process.
Yeah, we can definitely try to get in touch with the right people for whichever tech doc you're looking at, and look into any errors that you might be seeing.
Cool. All right, here, I can stop sharing my screen for a while. Anyway, the next one is around, how do you see what slots you are using for a specific intent? I want to have options for the user to select either by name or by ordinal number, but I want to check to see if the name is full. Is this a null value for search query or something more like empty string? Annalise, Denny, let's see. What's the best way to do this? I think I'm going to go to the developer console to show this. I think this might be the easiest way for you to demonstrate this. So I just unshared my screen, but we'll bring it back. So this is, if I go to the developer console and we look at this, let's go into skill. I'll show you a couple of tools that are they're a little bit hidden sometimes, I think. And it's really kind of cool once you find these to know how these work. So the big things are hidden inside this evaluate model button that's up here in the top right corner. So as you look at any of your skills, you can come into evaluate model and you can just type something in. So you could say something like tacos, right? I don't know if my skill will respond to tacos. But it looks at this and says, oh, you hit the answer intent. You have a slot called wrong, and I caught the word tacos. So in this case, it shows me exactly what's happening. Now let's do something real. Let's say, give me sports question, right? This is a trivia game. You can see in this case, I hit the question intent. I have a category slot, and it saw the word sports was filled in. So I think this is what you're looking for. I kind of want to see, as I'm talking to the skill, what's being filled in and how. This is a good starter kit to just use this utterance profiler, and you can type things in and it goes against your model. Now, the thing to remember about this is it does not go against your code. This is only looking at basically the first time you talk to your skill. So it's only accepting an interaction to your model, and when you talk to it, it'll give you that kind of response, something like this. Now, we can take that a step further by jumping over to this next tool, which is the NLU evaluation. This is just taking that initial idea and kind of adding a layer on top of it, which is I can create a whole bunch of examples of this and then run them as tests in the future to make sure that I haven't broken anything. So as an example, let's create a new annotation set, and we'll call this test. And I want to create a new utterance. So I'm going to say, give me a sports question, the thing that we just did. And in here, my intent name, well, I know it's going to be the question intent. And I know that the slot I'm expecting to hit is called category. And you can see it even pre-populates a lot of this for me. And then I think that the slot value for this is going to be sports, like so. So I can go ahead and I can save this annotation set. And then I can go back to evaluate model. And one of the choices I have here is to choose to run this new test set that I ran. And so I'll take this and I'll hit run the evaluation. And it's going to run those like a set of tests. It's going to say, okay, I ran the evaluation. I got a value. Now I'm going to compare it to what you expected. And in this case, you can see that it actually passed. So I did hit the question intent. It did have a slot called category, and the category slot had a value called sports. This is fantastic for building out a large set of utterances that you want to make sure all work the way they're supposed to in the future. So as you're continuing to build your model, you make a change, you run your tests, and all of a sudden you realize, oh my gosh, I broke something. And then you can go look and see, well, what is it about what I just changed that is affecting these, and why are they now not working the way that I expected to? So I honestly recommend when you're thinking about building out your voice model, start by building an NLU evaluation set. This will take you a long, long way. So Emily, I'm glad this helped your problem. The last tool, since we're in here, that I'll show you guys is the ASR evaluation. This is the same idea. The difference is that you actually save recorded audio files of you speaking the utterance. And so you can not only take that audio file and run it through your skill, but still test for all of the other values as well. So you can make sure that words spoken a certain way or with a certain accent or whatever, you can store all those and make sure that those are still responding the way that you'd like as well. So super valuable tools, this evaluate model button, but they are tucked a little away and sometimes a little more challenging to find. Another thing to recommend is if you're in the testing tab over here, when you're thinking about testing your skill, you can always see everything that's happening right here. So if I say open TKO trivia, which is the skill that I'm working on, maybe.
There was a problem with the requested skills response.
We can still see that this was a launch request. And so we can use the information that's here to dig in and really see what's going on. So lots and lots of tools, but that's just a small touch at what you were describing there, Emily. Okay, so let's jump into some of the other places you guys are talking. Make sure I'm catching all your questions. Is there anything that stood out to you, Alicia?
No, not yet.
Gavin Watson has a question. Hey, I received this message for a few of my skills, and this is something that any of you that have an older skill, maybe something you built more than a year or so ago, you may have used something called display interfaces, which are a set of templates that were created very early on for the original Echo Show devices. And they were just a set of templates, layout templates, and you could just provide some data and would fill them all in for you. So on July 30th, they are going to stop supporting display interface. Now, my understanding is that it just won't show it anymore. I think that's how it's understanding. But I need to dig into that some more. So this is a fantastic question, and I want to make sure that I have a better answer for you. So Gavin, I'm going to take your question, and I don't think that they're going to break anything. They're not going to take your skill down. At least I don't think so. And so what I want to be able to do is verify what exactly that experience is going to be. So I will dig into that for you, and we'll find an answer. You don't happen to know that answer, Alicia, do you?
I don't. I definitely been trying to stay in the loop in terms of the display interface retirement, but we haven't gotten a whole lot of information yet. So,
got it. Okay, it looks like most of our questions are here on Twitch, so I'm going to come back to the Twitch list. Is there a good resource for responsive APL documents that work well across all screen sizes? Finding myself endlessly tweaking font sizes, padding, and cycling through devices in the APL Ninja editor, which is great, but it feels like this is something that could benefit from some canonical examples from Source APL. I'm not aware of a repository of great APL documents outside of APL Ninja, but I know that this is something that we're being very mindful of. So I would expect that this will probably grow in the future, but one of the things that I would recommend checking out is talking with the folks in the APL channel on our Alexa community Slack. I think you'll find that there are a lot of people that have their resources in GitHub or in a number of other places. They're not in a core repository like APL Ninja is, but they are still a place that you can dig in and ask people questions and say, hey, how do I solve this problem? Or hey, how do I get around this issue? So if you guys aren't currently, I forgot to take my old banner down, but if you aren't already in the Slack, you can join our Alexa community Slack. We're almost at 1,000 members at this point, which is amazing. We only started a few months ago. But you can find it at alexa.design/Slack. And there you can find all sorts of things and people to talk to about whatever it is you're thinking about building for Alexa. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Oh, it looks like somebody commented on the skill fallback from our side. So A. Witters, this is, why am I forgetting her name all of a sudden? But thank you for tuning in. She says, no skills will not be removed. We're working to create fallback experiences so they won't look exactly as the current display templates. For example, if the skill uses an inline action or div tag, it won't work with the fallback experience. Elements selected won't fire, so touch-based element selection won't work, and Alexa will try its best to render display templates, but we don't recommend it relying on that because we expect many skills to break with the fallback exception, or fallback experience. So that's fantastic news. Thank you for sharing that. Alicia, I can't remember her name. She goes by A. Witters here on Twitch, but she's on your team, and I'm blanking on her name, and I feel terrible.
She's on my team?
I think so.
Oh. I don't know.
Oh, it's a he. And why can I not remember who this person is?
Oh, is it?
Oh, never mind. Why did I think that you were? Okay, you were pulling that from Slack. So someone on Slack answered this question. Let's go see who answered that. But thank you, A. Witters. I apologize. So many usernames to keep in my head. Sometimes it gets a little confusing. So I'm opening Slack. Oh, Arunjit Singh answered this. And so that's perfect. All right, let's go back to questions. So Bonded FM said there was a recent thread in the APL channel about this exact topic. And it looks like we just found it, so that's awesome. But again, these are great questions also to ask of the folks on Slack because those people are there all day, every day. You can get your answers much, much faster than if you come here.
It looks like A. Witters is Andy.
Andy. Thank you, Andy, for sharing that with all of us. All right, Leah. The conversations model has a built-in out-of-domain response that keeps the session open even when a user utterance doesn't match what I expect. For example, I want to keep prompting the user for a slot value until they either move on or give a correct response. However, I'm building my skill with interaction model. The session ends after a reprompt. Is there a way to keep prompting for a slot value without the session ending in the interaction model? I want to make sure that I fully understand this, Leah. So my understanding is if the user doesn't respond, even with Alexa conversations, I don't believe that that session will continue to stay open if they just don't respond at all. But if it doesn't match what you expect, you can certainly do this with the interaction model rather than using Alexa conversations. And the way to do that, I can show you. I think that's probably the easiest way. But what we're using is what we call dialogue management. So if I come into my skill again, let's go back to my build tab, and I'll show you how this is structured. So there's a couple of ways to do this. The first one is if we look at our interaction model and our intents, and I choose like the answer intent, you can start to see that I have, so the first one is I have slot values, right? So I need something like answer. This actually isn't a good example. Let's use the subscription intent. No, that doesn't have a slot. It's a problem when I try to use one that is kind of weird. Specific, okay, this is a good example. Specific question intent. So what we're going to see here is that I have a slot called question. And the way this skill, this is a temporary intent that I've created for my skill, so I can just test one question. So every question has a unique ID in my database, and I can say, oh, give me question number 74 or whatever, and it'll just give it to me. So it makes it very easy for me to test my questions. But what I could say is that I want this value to be required. I want them to give me a number, and if they don't give me a number, then I want to prompt them again. And so what we're going to do is look at our slot. So I'll choose Edit Dialog, and in here, we can say, is this slot required to fulfill the intent? This is kind of where you're headed. And so I can say, yes, it's required. And I want to say something like, hey, which question did you want me to ask? Right, and I can add this, and I can add multiple. So it'll randomly choose one for me. It kind of makes it a little more fresh. But I can choose the speech prompt. So if the user says, give me a question, and it says, oh, I need to know which question you want, this is what it's going to use. It's going to say, hey, which question did you want me to ask? And it's going to wait for the user to fill in that question slot for them. If they don't, it will just stay in that loop. If they keep saying things like turkey and motorcycle or whatever, it won't recognize that as a value because it doesn't match that slot type. And so it'll come back and say, hey, which question do you want me to ask this time? The other thing that you can do is in here, you can say things like what you expect them to respond with. And so I still expect them to respond with my slot name. And so I'll add that as a response. But they might also say, I want question, and this is my slot value, right? So I can come up with a bunch of different ways that they utter it. Another cool thing that we can do with dialogue management down here is slot confirmation. And this is where you basically can prompt back to the user, hey, I heard you say you want question 74. Is that right? And so in these cases, I can say, I heard you say you want question, and this uses the value they spoke. Is that correct? Now, this always assumes that you're going to ask a yes/no question. But by doing this, now when you get a correct answer, when you get a valid response to your question, then Alexa will pop back in and use these kinds of utterances to say, hey, I heard you want question 74. Is that right? That way you can validate with the user that you actually heard the thing that they wanted to do. Just by adding these little pieces, all of it happens for you automatically. So if I come back to my specific question intent, you can see that now I have some dialogue management. I can say, hey, I want to turn all that off, or I want to turn it back on, or whatever the options might be, but I can have some dialogue management stuff turned on here. So what I'm going to do is go back. Actually, I can just refresh this page. I don't need to save that. But that's how you do dialogue management like you see in Alexa conversations, but in your interaction model. So hopefully that helps answer your question. Okay, back to the Twitch. Oh, and Andy says you can use the dialog model and the elicit slot directive to keep reprompting until a slot value is supplied. I still don't think this works if they don't respond. But for anything else, I think that the solutions that you see there in chat are fantastic, or certainly use the dialog management tools that I just showed you. Let's see if I've missed anything else. Leandro Souza wants to know I cannot put a video in the Alexa background property of an APL. Can you show it? Important, I did it with an Amazon tutorial. I don't know that I can do that, but we'll try. Let's look at something I've built before, just because oftentimes that is a better representation. So if I go to GitHub, I have a whole bunch of projects. I don't think I need to sign in. Of course, I need a 6-digit code. Why wouldn't I? Maybe we'll get there. So in here, I have a repository called Star Wars Data Bank. And in here, I have Lambda APL video player. This is how I have done a simple video as the primary layer of my APL document. So you can see here I have one simple container. Inside that container, I have a video type. And then in there, I could have put other elements on the screen, of course, but this is all I really have in my APL document. But you're talking about putting it in the APL background. So let's go look at, if we look at the developer console, let's go to tools. No, let's go to multimodal responses. And what you're trying to do, we don't have that example here, so we'll just start with a blank document. But I think what you're saying is that there is a Alexa background property, which is not here.
Okay. Here's background based.
Oh my goodness. Alexa, stop. Oh my goodness. Alexa, stop. Okay. So I think I understand your question. I think I do. And that is so you're using the video object. So it sounds like Benjamin Anderson is checking for the same thing that I am suggesting here, which is that you're going to create a new item of type video and insert that into whatever container it is you're looking for. So this might be a good example. Let me take this and I'll drop it in the chat for you. And you can take a look at that. Hopefully that will get you headed in the right direction, Leandro. Okay. That one looks good. This looks good. How are we doing on Twitch? And Leandro here, because Leandro was on YouTube, TradeLast has shared a great link from APL Ninja. I'm going to take that and drop it on YouTube also, just so Leandro sees that. That will be a good example of a video player. And like that, Alicia, I think we've caught up.
Yeah, look at that.
We're really tapping into a lot of different knowledge points today. So it makes me feel versatile when I can kind of move my way through all this. It's good.
Yeah.
This is a big ego pickup for me every time I'm able to answer some questions. All right, so I think we're caught up on questions. How is everybody doing? Here in the United States, we had a nice long weekend. I did nothing this weekend, like nothing. And just to give you a level set for what nothing is, I did replace like the gas lantern outside my house with a new solar electric one, and I cleaned out the garage and like did all the grocery shopping and all the other stuff that happens in life. But like I feel like I did nothing. But I still got no sleep. I don't know how you sleep, Alicia, but I sleep so poorly that like if I'm not waking up 2 or 3 times a night, it just doesn't feel normal. It's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat.
I would like to sleep more. Here's a good poll for the audience. Does anyone go to bed and then just wake up in the morning? Is that a thing? Because it's not a thing for me. Oh yeah. Gold Zulu just pointed out my brother-in-law, it was his birthday this weekend, and the plan was to go to Topgolf. Have you ever been to a Topgolf, Alicia?
I haven't. Okay.
So I think there's one in Seattle, I think. But it's basically a driving range, but it's done in a way that is really interactive and fun and like kind of a game. And so it's a huge driving range, but instead of just having like flags out in the distance that you hit balls to, they're big target holes in the ground. I mean, some of them probably are 50 feet across, and then they have all these little baskets inside of them. And there's a ball dispenser. It's 3 stories tall, and there's a ball dispenser. And so you wave your club, and it gives you a ball. And inside the ball, there is an RFID microchip. And so you hit your ball out into the targets, and it goes in or it doesn't go in. But if it goes in one of them, then you get points, and it says, "Oh, I know your ball because it had an RFID tag on it." It went into this specific basket, so you earned 8 points for hitting into this one. And then there's like video displays and stuff, so it keeps track of all your score with your friends or whatever. So it's really fun and kind of engaging.
Yeah.
And so that was the plan. That was what we were going to do on Saturday morning, nice and early. But where the driving range is, they had a huge power outage on Friday night, and they weren't going to open at 10. Instead, they were going to open at like 11:30. And so we needed to find something else to do because we only had the morning free to go do something fun. So then we went and tried to find a bowling alley or just something else to do, and nothing opened until noon. So we ended up doing something that I haven't done in probably 20 years, which is we went to a gun range and rented a couple of like handguns and shot at targets for a couple of hours. And 1, I had no idea how expensive that is, but 2, I haven't shot like an actual handgun, like I said, in probably 20 years. And so that was actually, I have it right here. This is my target. You can see I hit some bullseyes.
Oh, wow.
That was from like 10 meters, so not bad.
Dang, yeah, that's really good.
I don't know what I'm going to do with that giant piece of paper, but for now it's laying on the floor. So went and did that, and didn't get any sleep. Emily says if you take migraine meds, you can sleep through anything. Emily, I don't know if you know this, but I actually have had migraines my whole life, and I take a bunch of different migraine medication. Nothing daily anymore. And mostly I lean on Excedrin migraine for migraines, but none of them have ever made me sleepy. Although the best remedy for migraines, if you've had one before or not, but the best remedy for me is a cold, dark room where I can go to sleep. That's the perfect remedy for a migraine.
Yeah, I've heard you can basically just wait them out and that's it, besides a little bit of medication. But
Yep.
yeah, I've been fortunate in not having migraines before. Definitely headaches, but I don't think they've been migraine status.
Like, if you've had a migraine, like they're crushing.
Yeah,
that's like right behind one eye, and just like everything hurts.
Yeah, it's
bad. So now that I'm looking back at my weekend, I guess I did a lot, but I feel like I just laid around all weekend. So I guess that's good.
Yeah, sometimes relaxing weekends are the best ones anyway.
Yeah. And I was telling Alicia before we started the stream that I'm out on Friday. I'm going to a place called Cedar Point, which is here in Ohio. It's a big roller coaster park. I think they have like 18 or 20 different roller coasters there, and they're all the biggest, fastest, tallest, whatevers. And this is the first time we get to go in like 2 years, because last year, I think they were open, but nobody was going. And this year I'm really looking forward to it. So yeah, Friday is roller coasters. So maybe I won't be able to walk on Saturday. We'll see. My back, if my back can handle it. Oh, Leah, this is an interesting piece of feedback. Leah says it would be nice if we could tell the device to go to sleep for a few minutes. I think that there's a whole world of this kind of interaction that I would love. There's another one. I like this, right? This is almost like, could you just mute for half an hour, right, or something like that? That would be great. But another thing that I would really be interested in is I want to, like, there are a lot of smart outlets, smart plugs, things like that. And you can turn them on and off, right? And it turns off whatever their plug is plugged into them. The problem with all of those is that I want to set this up on my Wi-Fi. And again, I don't know if you've ever run into this problem, but this is something that plagues me and I don't know how to solve it. Sometimes you just need to reboot your router, right? Or your modem or whatever. And because everything is wonky. But if I have a smart plug hooked up to it, awesome. I can tell Alexa to like reboot the router and it'll turn that off and then it'll stay off because I just killed the internet connection. And so that means that I can't then talk to Alexa again and be like, hey, can you turn that router back on because I lost all my internet connectivity.
Yeah.
So I really want there to be like, hey, can you just turn off for 30 seconds, right? And then have it power everything back on. But that doesn't exist yet either. And we need that to happen.
Definitely. I agree.
Okay, so Leah, I like your feedback. I'm going to put that on my list of things to share with the team. Let's see. Rock Arlandi says, I want to create a device compatible with Alexa. Which is the better practice? Well, I think what you're probably looking for is something called Alexa Voice Service, or AVS. AVS is a pile of software that you can use to run on your own devices. In fact, I'll step away for 1 second. I have a device right here. And this is your run-of-the-mill Raspberry Pi. I have one of the official like Raspberry Pi cases. And I just put an Alexa sticker on it. But this is a Raspberry Pi in a case. I can even show you. Just a simple Raspberry Pi. I was able to load the Alexa voice service on this device. I added a USB microphone, which you can see kind of sticking out there. It's like a $3 USB microphone. And then there's a place for an HDMI cable if you have any display stuff, and 3.5 millimeter jack if you want to run it to a speaker, because this doesn't have a speaker in it. But you could use just this, and even the Raspberry Pi Zero will work. I think those are $5. But you can use these to create your own Alexa device. And this one does exactly that. So you can do all of that, but I think the place you want to start is the Alexa voice service. And then from there, you can do all sorts of interesting things because you can completely have access to the hardware. You can intercept things. You can have other things happen while that's running. I think it's kind of a fun experiment to just build your own Alexa device and then kind of look at the logging, look at what's happening on the device, and try to take it from there. But that's where I would recommend starting. All right, let's see. Tradeless says he went to the immersive Van Gogh experience in San Francisco, and it was totally worth it. There is one in Cleveland. I've heard about it, and I'm looking at checking that out. That sounds pretty cool. I think there might be one here in Columbus as well. But that I've heard good things about that interactive Van Gogh experience, so I'll have to check that out. But it's not in Seattle. So sorry, Alicia.
Yeah, darn. Too bad.
Is there any guidance or documentation anywhere on using the update live skill to update slot values via the CLI? Bondad, my understanding of how the update live skill button works is as long as the only changes that have been made can be updated in the live skill, simple things like slot values, then it's available. But if you make a bunch of other changes too, especially from the CLI, then you are stuck in a place where you've made changes to your utterances, your interaction model, or something that is not in that world. And because of that, then that update live skill becomes unavailable. So what you were asking, though, is there any documentation about that anywhere? Is that something that you have run into, Alicia? Are you familiar with the update live skill capabilities?
Not as much via the CLI. Through the dev console, yes, but
Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, you can. The list of things here. This is a blog post. This isn't what you're looking for, Bondad, but I'll add this anyway. You can update slot values. You can update sample utterances for an existing intent, but you can't create a new intent. and you can handle things from like catalog management. But those are the limitations of what you can do for updating a live skill. And this is something that we shared just over a year ago, I think. I do have a tech doc here as well, I think. Let's see if I can find the right page. Update your live skill instantly. Yeah, this isn't exactly what you're looking for, but I think copy link. I'll add this link as well. This is the tech docs about that specific thing, but I don't know that that's going to give you anything more than what you probably know. And I would assume you've already scoured the tech docs because I know you. So I don't know that I have a better answer for you on that. Are there any spoilers on Alexa Live? Gold Zulu, that's actually a great segue for me. Alexa Live, for those of you that don't know, is coming up on July 21st. It's going to be a fantastic event that me and my team have been working very, very hard on. Lots of very cool things coming. But as far as spoilers, no. Here, I'll give you one spoiler. This is something that I can give away. I've gotten special permission to tell people. I'll be a part of it. I'll be there. So you'll get to see my smiling face. As far as teasers go, no, I don't really have anything. I have a very large team of PR folks and legal folks and management that would really prefer that I not scoop all the awesome stories that we're trying to share during Alexa Live. So I will not be doing that. But I think it's well worth your time to tune in. Make sure that you register also. If you guys recall, last year, the people that registered got a cool box in the mail with like cool swag. I think one of the items you might have gotten was something like this very nice coffee mug. Might be worth your while to register. I'm just saying. I don't know if it is, but it seems like it might be worth your time. What else can I talk about Alexa Live? July 21st, make sure you register. Let's see if I can get you a real link for it. Alexa Live 21. Here we go. Copy. Right into the all comments. Okay, I think I'm caught up there. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything on other platforms. Mike Dreyer wants to know if they're going to add outlets to the devices to recharge other accessories. This is something that I've actually asked for a while, is the idea of just a simple USB port on the back that is just power, just to be able to charge my phone or whatever. I think that would be, I've already got this on the counter. I've already got it plugged in. It would be really nice to be able to just run a wire into that and connect my phone or charge it or whatever. But I don't know anything about that. I would assume probably not, since we haven't done that yet. But it's a good idea. Mike, I'll add that to my list of things to share. And then how about an outdoor Alexa device? Well, there technically are some outdoor Alexa devices. Keep in mind that Amazon isn't the only one that makes Alexa devices, and there are some waterproof speakers on the market that do have Alexa built into them. But the thing that I recommend, and I can give you guys a quick tour of this, I think we still make this product. There's two things I would recommend. The first one I know has been discontinued, and that is the Amazon Tap. I loved this device, and they got rid of it. Yeah, I don't even see like aftermarket-y versions of it. So the Amazon Tap was a really cool device. You can probably find one on eBay. That was a portable battery-powered one. So it's not necessarily outdoor, but it's easy to just take with you. And I'm going to give you the same answer if you're looking for an Amazon-made device, and that is the Amazon Input. What I'm thinking of? Yeah. Why do I not see that device? No, it's because it's called the Echo Input, Jeff. It's also not giving me what I want. I was pretty sure this device is still available, but I don't see it here in the store. Maybe we're sold out. But the Echo Input, the device that I'm thinking of, it's a very small disc. It's about the size of a hockey puck, but if you just took like maybe a quarter of a hockey puck, it's only about that thick. And it's an Alexa device, but it doesn't have a speaker. but it does have a 3.5 millimeter out, and it has Bluetooth out. And so the way that I've set this up is I have a little overhang on my back patio, and I have 2 outdoor speakers set up there, and I have the wiring for those speakers to running to a small Bluetooth amp that lives in the room above my patio. And so what I can do is I can just plug this device in. It automatically connects via Bluetooth to that amp, and then I can talk to it just right outside. And so what I do is there's a little magnetic accessory that comes with it, and you can just stick it to the wall. It's magnetic. And then I can talk to that and ask for music and do all the other stuff. So the Echo Input is the device I'm thinking of, but I am not seeing it available on Amazon.com, which is very disappointing to me because I thought that was a cool device. But I do not, at least it's not on the first page of results, which I would think when I'm saying the actual name of the product, it would show up earlier than that. But Echo Input is the thing I was thinking of. Again, not weatherproof, but easy to just take outside, plug in, stick to a wall, and go. So I really like that device as well. Okay, a couple of other comments in here. Oxygen Box says, here's an Alexa Live spoiler. If Gold Zulu doesn't receive swag, we'll never hear the end of it. That's probably true. We're still not hearing the end of last year's. So Amazon Echo Input. I mean, it's possible it's available in other locales, but I'm not finding it in the US one. No. Let me see if I look in my orders, because I know I have one. Yeah, it's just currently unavailable, so I can at least share my screen and show you guys what this thing looks like. This is the Echo Input. Very skinny, very small, and so it just looks like that. But you have to have another speaker for it. So the recommendation is just have a Bluetooth speaker that you connect it to, but you could also run a wire from it and connect it via 3.5 millimeter. Yeah, it looks like it's at least sold out where I shop. So maybe in other locales it might be available though. Make sure I'm not missing anything else.
Like Veggie IB was asking how to register for Alexa Live.
Oh, yeah. The link that I provided right above that
Okay.
should probably get you what you need.
I also added it there in the YouTube chat, but I'm not sure if it showed up.
Got it. All right. I feel like we're caught up again. Garav Yadav says, what is Alexa communication? Can I use it to make a WhatsApp call? No, I don't believe that there's any compatibility between Alexa and WhatsApp today. Alexa communication generally means I can call other Alexa devices of my friends and family or in my house. That is what Alexa communication is. So I can call my parents. I can call using my own cell phone. So when it rings my mom's cell phone, it looks as if I'm calling her from my cell phone, but I'm actually calling from my Alexa device. There's lots of that kind of stuff. But no, I don't believe that there's any WhatsApp interactivity yet. Oh, you can only get notifications so far. I apologize. I thought there was a registration form. Did you find a registration form, Alicia?
I thought there was. Let me see. I think
It might just be a sign up for notifications.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. It looks like registration is not open yet.
Okay.
But
that should be coming very soon, though, I would expect.
yeah, I would suggest signing up for the updates, and then you'll be notified, I assume, when the registration opens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Gold Zulu really wants a box of swag. We'll have to see what we can do. Startup wants to know, for Alexa communication, does an Alexa device need to be on both ends of the conversation? No, it does not. I can call my mom's cell phone from my Alexa device, but I'm calling a telephone. So that works just fine. But I can't call other apps or other devices. I can't do things like FaceTime or Google Voice or any of that kind of stuff. All I can do is make a normal phone call or call another Alexa device. I think those are the only two. Gold Zulu, don't you worry. They have decided. I know what's going to be in a box if a box were to exist, but there's a cascading plan about releasing an event and getting it updated and getting it ready, and they haven't checked the box yet for making registration open. I guess soon. The event's July 21st. They'll have that very soon. So then Startup is asking, is Alexa communication not chargeable from a telecom service provider? No. It's going through your phone. So you're not going to get around things like long distance calling or any of that kind of stuff. If that's something that you get charged for, you will still get charged for it in the normal places that you would get charged. So be very conscious of that. Gold Zulu really wants to know what's in this box. There's no amount of money in the world that would get me to tell you whether or not there is a box, let alone what's in it. I like my job, and I would like to keep my job.
So are your kids hyped for this weekend?
What is this weekend?
For the
roller coasters, yes.
Yeah.
In fact, things have been falling apart a little bit. My wife has had, this is brand new, not normal, but she's had a little bit of like sciatica, like nerve pain down her right leg.
Oh.
And it's been hard to walk, and like this has been going on for like 10 days now, and so I don't think she's going to go.
Oh.
Which throws off all the numbers. When you go to a roller coaster park, you want to go with 4. 4 is the perfect number.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll be the 3 of us. But yeah, they're very much looking forward to it. So it should be a good trip. My kids love roller coasters, and there's 2 there that they still have never been on.
Oh.
In fact, I should show a link to the one because it's amazing. It's only a 30-second ride. This video. Yeah. I'll drop this in the chat as well. If you guys want to see a crazy roller coaster, this thing goes straight up. You go from 0 to 120 miles an hour very fast. And I think it's like 300 feet in the air or something crazy.
Oh my gosh. That's insane.
So if you guys get a chance to watch that video, I recommend it. Yeah, you go from 0 to 120 in 4 seconds.
Wow.
And you go 420 feet in the air, and you do a 270-degree twist on the way.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
It's pretty amazing, but it's done like a drag race, and so you're sitting there, and there's the red, yellow, green lights in front of you, and then it just goes red, yellow, green, and then just boom, you're gone. It's one of those rides where they recommend that you like put your head against the back of the seat before it takes off.
Oh yeah.
They're serious.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's good. But the whole ride is 17 seconds.
Wow.
But you'll wait an hour and a half in line for it, 2 hours.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah. It's a good one. All right. Abuma One said that Disneyland in California is opening up to non-California residents after June 15th. His family wants to go in July, and so does he. So they scheduled a visit to Disneyland right around Alexa Live. That's awesome. Leah reiterates that Cedar Point is fantastic for roller coasters. Can't recommend it enough. You guys should all go. make a trip to Ohio, give me a call, let me know when you're in town, and then go get some roller coasters.
I don't know. It's sounding better and better going to Ohio, so I might have to do that.
Ohio has a lot to offer, but it's not always considered because it is flat and there's lots of farms.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some cool things to Ohio. It's only about 45 minutes from Cleveland, so you can easily make a trip into Cleveland. Cleveland's a fantastic city, lots of cool food and culture and sports. So
Okay.
it's a good weekend.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about Cedar Point is it's right on the coast, so you're out it's a peninsula out into Lake Erie. So when you're up high, like you can see all the whole lake. You can almost see Canada.
Wow.
And in that area, it's also very boat-minded. So there's a bunch of islands out there. Like if you like wine and live bands, lots of that out there. So that's also very cool. Lots of bars and wineries and stuff to go to.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Oxygen Box says that Cedar Point is legendary, but I've never been. My niece is at Ohio State, which is where I live, Columbus. So now maybe he needs to take a trip. Can't recommend it enough. Gold Zulu is looking for a way to get a fake U.S. address to get that swag in case it's only sent to U.S. folks. And Trade Last recommends using 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue in Washington, D.C., care of Gold Zulu. We'll see if that works out. I don't know that sending random boxes with your name on it to the White House is a good idea, but you do you.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're probably done for today. Some really good questions, good discussions. I can't recommend to everyone enough. Like if you're not already a part of the Alexa Slack, get in there, ask your questions. I cannot emphasize this point enough. There are no dumb questions. Like come in, ask your questions, talk with people, get to know them, build a network. You never know, maybe even find a job out of something like this, right? Meet the right people, talk to the right folks. So check out the Slack. Head over there, talk to people, engage, have a conversation. You'll be absolutely amazed how friendly and nice and helpful everybody is. Again, can't recommend it enough. All right, with that, I think we're going to wrap things up here, Alicia. Thank you, as always, for joining me here. It's always good to have somebody to chat with and talk to and share things like Cedar Point with. So
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Certainly. And for all of you, we will see you all again next week, of course. Don't forget, office hours are every Tuesday at 9 a.m., 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. There is office hours on Wednesdays now being put on by our UEU team, and I believe those are at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. But I'm not certain on that time. They just started doing this again, and so I need to get that up on the schedule so that everybody can find that. I just haven't done it yet. And then we always have Alexa and Friends episodes on Thursdays. And if you don't have time to tune in for an Alexa and Friends episode, we also have a podcast. The podcast has been going for a couple of months now, but if you want to tune into those episodes and only hear the audio, you can find that at alexa.design/podcast, which I'll look at that. I have a button for too. So check that out. Give that a subscribe. Mash the subscribe button, right? Isn't that what you're supposed to say? And hopefully I'll see you guys around very, very soon. So again, thank you, Alicia, so much. And we will see you guys all very soon.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.